You're listening to the Shaughnessy Group podcast, insights on buying, selling, and growing Canadian businesses in the lower middle market. Let's begin.
Welcome to the deep dive. We really appreciate you joining us for this one.
We do, and we have a really critical topic today, one that comes up all the time.
Absolutely. We are diving into one of the most, maybe the most consequential decision a business owner ever makes.
Selling their company.
Exactly. But we're not just looking at the logistics. We're trying to build a strategic playbook for you to maximize that value.
It's a journey that's often, it's shrouded in a bit of mystery and, frankly, fear. We've synthesized all this material to provide a clear roadmap.
And that's really the mission here. Taking these intimidating, highly technical requirements for selling a business.
Especially due diligence.
Oh, especially due diligence. And translating it all into, actionable steps you can start taking.
Yeah.
We want to give you, the business owner, the knowledge to start planning today, not tomorrow.
That's it. So let's cut right to the central question we see everyone wrestling with. Given the market right now, should you push for a sale or hold off for another year?
Yeah, hoping things get even better.
Let's start there, because that timing decision, it frames absolutely everything that follows.
The urge to perfectly time the market is so strong, isn't it? Everybody wants to sell at the absolute peak.
It's a natural impulse, but the sources we looked at are pretty sobering on this.
How so?
There's just no reliable way to predict the future M&A market, not with any real certainty.
So trying to guess if next year is going to be better than this year is a gamble.
It's a huge gamble, and business owners who rely on that kind of prediction, they often end up disappointed. The market just moves too fast.
Okay, so we can't predict the future, but what about the present? I'm looking at this analysis here, dated January 3, 2025, and it paints a fascinating picture of right now.
Yes, this is where it gets really compelling. Despite the general economic environment, which, can feel a little shaky.
Understatement.
Right. The M&A market is described as surprisingly robust. The analysis actually calls it a seller's market.
A seller's market. Now, how does that square with all the economic jitters we hear about? Who's doing all this buying?
The demand is really being driven by two powerful forces. You've got your strategic buyers, so other companies in your industry.
Right, looking to buy a competitor.
Exactly. And they have strong balance sheets. Then you have the financial buyers, so private equity firms, and they are just sitting on massive amounts of dry powder.
Capital they have to deploy.
They have to deploy it. They have fund timelines. They need to generate returns for their investors. They can't just sit on cash forever.
That makes perfect sense.
So the observation in the source material is that this could be the best M&A market we've seen in years, at least for certain types of businesses. The demand is just fierce.
So if you have a well-prepared business right now, this is the signal. This is what's motivating owners who maybe weren't planning to retire for another 5 years to suddenly
explore it. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're asking, why risk waiting for a potential downturn if the market's offering a premium today?
That's the real implication. But, and this feels like a really big but, being motivated by the market doesn't mean you can just rush the process.
Not at all. And that's the critical transition.
Right. Which gets us to the next major misconception we have to tackle. The timeline. You decide today the market is right. You think you'll be on the beach in 6 months.
That is the industrial-sized lie perpetuated by Hollywood movies.
It really is.
And it is the biggest source of stress and, frankly, lost leverage in a transaction. We have to completely reframe how people think about this. It's not just a transaction. It's a huge organizational transformation. And it takes time.
Okay, so let's be brutally honest here. If I'm an owner thinking about an exit in the next 5 years, when do I need to start preparing?
Today.
Really?
The sources are emphatic. The core preparation, cleaning up the books, positioning the business, and then running the actual sale process, that takes anywhere from 7 to 24 months.
2 years.
2 years, and that's just to get to the closing date.
Wow. Let's dig into that. Why so long? Is it all just financial scrubbing?
It's everything. It's the time it takes to hire advisors, gather years of data, find and fix the hidden problems.
The skeletons in the closet.
Exactly. If you skip this prep work, buyers will find the holes during due diligence, and they will use them to discount the price.
So rushing actually costs you money.
A lot of money. And that 7 to 24 months, that only gets you to the closing table. For a really premium valuation, that's usually not the end of the story.
Far from it, I guess.
Very far from it. This brings us to what we call the full premium realization timeline. It is very rare for a buyer to pay 100% cash up front for the maximum possible valuation. They structure the deal.
With things like earnouts. For anyone who might not know, can you just quickly explain what an earnout is?
Sure. An earnout is essentially a deferred payment. It's a chunk of the purchase price that you, the seller, only get if the company hits specific performance targets after the sale.
So the buyer is hedging their bets.
It's how they mitigate their risk and make sure you stay committed to the business's success for a while longer.
So you're basically earning the last slice of the price over the next few years.
Okay.
That sounds like a big commitment.
It is. If you look at high valuation deals, that earnout period can add an additional 36 to 60 months.
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years before the owner realizes the full premium they were promised.
Okay, so let's do the math. The prep and sale cycle can be up to 2 years. The earnout can be up to 5 years. We're talking about a total commitment of potentially 6.5 years.
6.5 years.
That completely changes the calculation. You're not just asking, is the market good now? You're asking, am I ready to commit the next 6 years of my life to this?
Exactly. And that long timeline demands surgical preparation.
Which brings us to the buyer's perspective. Modern buyers, especially those private equity groups we mentioned, they're not just sophisticated. They are professional risk assessors.
That's the perfect way to put it. They come in with a surgical checklist, the due diligence process, and it's designed to find any flaw that can justify a price reduction.
So if you want that high valuation, you have to get ahead of their scrutiny.
You have to. And the sources give us a fantastic breakdown of where they look for trouble, which we can turn into a clear to-do list for you.
Okay, so let's start with the obvious one, financial health. What are they looking for beyond just the P&L?
So they're looking at historical statements, of course, but they're really focused on the quality of those earnings. And even more importantly, they are stress testing the reasonableness of your future projections.
They don't just want growth.
They want predictable, defensible, repeatable growth.
Got it. Okay, beyond the money, they're scrutinizing the engine of the business itself, the assets, the tech.
Precisely. The core assets and intellectual property, or IP. Is your tech proprietary? Is it legally protected? If your business runs on software, do you actually own the code? That's a huge common trap.
And what about operational stability? This is where they're looking for, I guess, single points of failure.
It's all stability and risk assessment. They scrutinize every contract, supplier dependencies, customer agreements, key employee contracts.
So if your top salesperson could just walk away tomorrow?
That's a massive risk for the buyer, a huge one. And today, cybersecurity protocols are just non-negotiable. An old system or a history of even minor breaches signals huge future liability.
We hear so many stories about legal issues derailing deals at the very last minute. What's on that part of the checklist?
The legal and compliance review is exhaustive. They're looking for, where the bodies are buried, past litigation, pending litigation, but also potential future regulatory issues.
And tax matters seem to be a big one. You mentioned tax loss carry forwards. What is that exactly?
Right. So a tax loss carry forward is basically the value of past financial losses that a company can use to lower its future tax bill. For a profitable buyer, this is a real quantifiable asset.
So if it's not documented properly, that value just disappears.
It evaporates. They also review all your governance documents to make sure everything is completely above board.
That seems like an area where a lot of small or mid-sized businesses who might not have in-house lawyers could easily fall short.
They often do. Which brings us to your market position and your sales. Buyers analyze customer base concentration.
Meaning you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. If 50% of your revenue comes from one customer, that is a huge red flag that will devalue your business. They want to see diversification.
And finally, a really key area for family-owned or closely held businesses, related party transactions.
This is a massive one. A related party transaction is any deal between the company and its owners or entities controlled by the owners.
Like leasing the office building from your spouse's company.
A classic example. Buyers want to see transparent, arm's-length transactions. They need to know that the profitability you're showing isn't just inflated by favorable, non-market rate deals you gave yourself.
That checklist, it's intimidating, but it's really the ultimate preparation guide, isn't it? Which brings us to maximizing value. The number one rule seems to be, don't be in a rush.
That's the rule you have to internalize. Never be in a forced sale. Whether it's external pressure, internal chaos, or a personal emergency. Weakness signals desperation, and buyers will exploit that.
So if the buyer is going to put us through that surgical due diligence, how does the seller flip the script and maximize their value?
The strategy is Simple in concept, but very hard in execution. You have to proactively put yourself through the exact same due diligence process we just laid out.
So you run an audit on your own company.
You do.
Hmm.
You hire professional advisors, legal, financial, operational, to find every single weakness before you ever go to market.
You're hunting for your own skeletons.
You are. Because if you fix the messy IP ownership or normalize those related party transactions or improve customer diversification before a buyer ever sees it,
You take away their ammunition for reducing the price.
you've eliminated their primary negotiating tools. You control the narrative.
Part of controlling that narrative has to be knowing what you're actually worth. You can't go into a negotiation blind.
You absolutely cannot. The sources recommend two types of professional assessment to know your worth. First, a formal financial valuation of the business.
Okay.
And second, and this is crucial, a comparable sale transactions analysis. This looks outward. It focuses on real-world data. What did other similar companies in your industry actually sell for?
So you have a theoretical value, but also what the market is actually willing to pay.
Exactly. And knowing your worth is preparation, but driving that valuation up to a premium price, well, that relies on competition.
This is the real key, isn't it?
This is the most powerful lever a business owner has, the professional auction process.
Talk about the difference in outcome between just approaching a single buyer versus running a real auction.
Think about the power dynamic. If you go to one buyer, you're on their terms, their timing. They know they're the only game in town, so they have all the leverage to chip away at your price.
But with an option.
An auction, led by professional M&A advisors, creates competition. You bring multiple qualified buyers to the table at the same time.
And that creates a fear of missing out.
The fear of missing out, emotion, strategic need. All of it drives valuations higher than a simple financial formula would ever suggest. It creates a premium. It puts you, the seller, in the driver's seat.
This has been an incredibly clarifying deep dive. Let's just quickly summarize the core insights for you. First, while the market seems hot now, it's unpredictable, so don't try to time it perfectly.
Second, this whole process takes years. You have to plan for up to 2 years of prep and sale, plus up to another 5 years for things like earnouts to get your full premium.
And finally, maximizing that value is not an accident. It requires a rigorous professional self-audit using that buyer's due diligence checklist.
To fix every problem before the sale begins. And it all culminates in a competitive, professionally managed auction.
So if preparation is the key to unlocking that premium value, we want to leave you with one provocative thought to consider. You now know the buyer's checklist. What is the single biggest weakness in your business that you could start fixing today to future-proof its worth?
Taking that step, that self-audit, is the true beginning. And on that note, we want to thank Shaughnessy Group for providing these invaluable insights. They're just crucial for any business owner considering their next chapter.
And if you want to explore this topic even further, their resources include a really detailed business valuation guide. It covers preparation, valuation methods, valuing intangible assets, and common mistakes to avoid.
For those resources and for more information, please visit shaughnessy.group.
That's shaughnessy.group. We look forward to taking the next deep dive with you soon.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not professional advice. Consult qualified advisors for your specific situation.